Welcome back to Barrel Brothers, and today we're on the mighty Viperccino. Stay tuned. So today we're about to pack up all of our camera gear and hightail it over to Stewie's place, where Shannon's going to meet us with the for the dyno. Because the question to me is, what can this little high flow turbo actually do for us? We put it down the strip, boosted it up a little bit. The standard boost on them is like 8 to 10. When I set my controller to 0, I just tested this morning, it runs about 10 pound of boost. As I'm running it most of the time now, I boost it up. I'm running about 15 psi, which is really outside of the efficiency envelope of the turbo. It's heating up the air quite a lot, which is part of the reason why I put the front mount intercooler on there. So this little guy here, with its much bigger inducer and compressor wheel, because it's bigger, we've got the same back end, so it should boost up the same, but it's going to be moving a lot more air. So, and not heating it up as much, so we should get some more power out of it. The question is, how much? So the plan today, we'll throw all the camera gear in, and we will throw a pointer in, because you just need a pointer, everybody does. We'll take it all over there. We'll do 2 pulls, one on the standard boost, or our low boost setting. You do get a little bit extra, because instead of the tube being this long, it's got to go up to the controller and back down to the turbo, so it does boost up a little bit more than standard, which is probably why it's running 10 pound instead of around 8 or 9, which they supposedly do standard. And then we'll do a pull at 15 psi. Keep an eye on the AFRs, the air fuel ratios, while we're at it, and just see where we are. So the plan from this point with the Viperccino is we'll put on our bigger turbo, and then we might look at maybe a Haltech and some bigger injectors, just for the control. I've got a little ECU, quite small, isn't it? The interesting stuff is when we have a look on the inside of it. They're quite a simple car, the Cappuccino and the 660 engine. And there you have it. As you can see, it's quite a simple little gadget. It's only on one side of the board. So, and it's like, this is 90s technology. You know, it's 30 years old now, so you know, my phone's got more power than this, like quadruple the power of this thing anyway. The good thing about it is, I don't know if you'll be actually able to see that. I'll put that right up close. If you look down here, all the pins are labelled to what they do. I was talking to Shannon. I think, you know, to make up a flying lead or a patch loom onto a Haltech would be fairly easy, because we know what each of them do. He just said, look, don't do that, because your loom's 30 years old. So I said, oh, what if we just buy another loom from Yahoo Japan? They're, I don't know, about $100, probably 150 landed for a complete loom, and just take off what we don't need and go from there. That was his suggestion. I said, all right, you know, you're the boss, you know what the hell you're doing, I don't. So yeah, that could be a plan. Just get the loom, take off what we don't need, and pin a little lead to plug into the Haltech. Then we put some bigger injectors in, and we need to change the, what do we need to change? We need to change the throttle position sensor, because it's only a switch. It basically, you know, is idle and then not idle. That's your 2 positions. So we need a TPS to actually tell you where it is. You can go the whole hog, and I think there's an earlier model of the K6A that has an electronic crank angle sensor instead of a distributor there. They bolt on the end of the cam, I think. So yeah, and we could run some coil packs, but like the Haltech will be able to do one of those. They've got the new S2, I think might be the go. It has a boost control in there too, so yeah, that might be the go, something like that. So first we need to find out what the car does now with this little bloke, and the gaskets for which will be arriving this week, and then we'll sling it on next weekend, a job I'm not looking to. Mind you, Ben from BCW's done it before and he says it's fairly easy. So yeah, he's a mechanic that's done lots of stuff, so yeah, it could be fun. Maybe he did it on an engine that wasn't in the car. No, he reckons he's done it in the car, so yeah, we'll see how we go. Anyway, that's the day, dyno day. First run, we're just doing a pull in third to see if it'll get the revs up. That's not indicative because that's third gear, not fourth. It's hitting the speed limiter in fourth. Right? Got there that time?
Got there, got the red. When that disappears, you should see it red.
Okay, we'll just wait for that to disappear. Oh yeah. Still fell over though. Alright, so this is on the standard boost, isn't it? It's number 2? Yep. We haven't changed it because to get to number 1 you've got to go right back around again. But yeah, it looks like the speed limiter is going to be the limiting factor. So doing on fourth, and we'll find out how many pony strides it actually has. Falls flat on its face at 7. Yeah, that's it. It's hitting the rev limiter and it's just running out of puff on the turbo. That's as much as it'll do.
It's had all its fun and it's gone on.
Yeah. Well, the new one should with that bigger compressor should, because it's moving more air per revolution.
I would have loved to have put the exhaust back pressure sensor on this as well. It's only just for shit.
Exhaust on it, seriously? Is that big?
Yeah, it's for my own personal amusement and nothing else.
So tiny. Alright, so what are you going to do? Bog standard run?
I'm going to send it in fourth.
Keep an eye on this and see what it does. Yeah, well, that's actually, you know, not bad, really. Considering that, like, out of the box, they're supposed to be 64 horsepower. And this has got like a pound or 2 more. Alrighty, high boost for this one. Yeah, gonna need that. Was this one the low boost?
Yeah.
And that was a high boost.
Yeah, so you gain a massive 6. But when it's cold, it would be more. I would say it'd probably be closer to 10 on a.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought around about that.
Because 10% is literally 10%.
Yeah.
From 60 to 65.
Yeah, well, that's
10% horsepower for 5 pounds of boost. Yeah. through a tiny little potato.
Potato. Yeah. Those are those Irish turbos, aren't they?
Feed them in there. Comes out.
So yeah, it just falls over at like 7,000 RPM.
Yeah.
But that's where it's hitting the 140k speed limiter. Cool.
That was definitely leaner.
Well, that's sort of more where you want it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I think it maybe, I don't know when it was.
We was doing that real rich one before. Some interesting figures there, really. From the factory, these cars are supposed to have 64 horsepower. So out of the box, at the flywheel, that's what they're supposed to have. It's government mandated. Now, this is where I think, this is a 90s car too. It may be a gentleman's agreement, Do you remember that, like, back in the 90s, they had the GTRs. They were supposed to have 276 kilowatt. Like, my ass. They had quite a bit more than that. Yeah, so I think that may be the case here as well. And the reason that I say that is if we take our 64 horsepower figure and we chuck it into here, what have we got? Clear into this guy. So 64 minus 30% for driveline losses equals, that's roughly what we should be getting on a dyno, get the reflections out of the way, at standard boost, right? Okay, so we couldn't get it to standard boost, and that's because we have an exhaust on it and we have the front mount intercooler, so it's obviously breathing a little bit better. Lowest we could get it was 10 psi. All right, 10 psi. So if we go back to here and we have a look at those numbers there, the top one being these ones here, the top one is low boost and the bottom one is high boost. So like low boost, it's like 60 horsepower, 2 psi, and we've got what, from 45 to 60, 25 horsepower more for 2 psi. Okay, it did feel a bit peppier with the exhaust when we put it on, and again with the nice free-flowing front mount intercooler, which is obviously doing its job, but still 60 horsepower when we should have about 45, and the high boost at 65 horsepower. Anyway, it's quite possible the Suzuki were fudging the figures back in that day, but it does tell us also that our little engine is quite a healthy little thing. So, and it sounds good too. So if we look at, not that one, let's have a look at, here's the, not that one. Here's the interesting thing, which is all of our curves. You can see it falls on its head at about 7,000 RPM. We tried it in third gear and it still did the same thing. So about 7,000, it just runs out of puff. Now from out of the box, before I put the boost controller on, it would boost up at about 3.5, 4. You'd start making some power, and it'd run out at 6 or 6.5. Now what the boost controller does is it holds the wastegate closed until it gets up, so it's coming up a lot better, and it holds it past, you're not getting wastegate creep because it's holding it closed. The electronic boost controller is holding it closed. So, which is shown actually on that graph there. So we're starting to make some meaningful stuff here, but we're getting up, you can see, sorry, the reflection on it, $4,000 right there is when it's given it the berries, and it just stays flat right through till 7,000 RPM. So 4 to 7, it's doing really well. And you can see it's like boosting up. You can see the low and high that we did there. That's the difference. I mean, but like standard, it should be way down here somewhere. That won't get Suzuki in trouble with the government. And the other interesting thing was the AFRs. Now, ignore these couple at the start here. We couldn't get, because like the exhaust pipe's like this round, and their big thing was we couldn't get it to stay, and it fell off, and it did all sorts of stuff. But, you know, it's still doing really quite nicely right there. Around the 12s for AFRs. So, you know, our dinky little computer that it's about this big, and it's 90s tech, so like, you know, it's only got one side. I actually had it in the Cappuccino, which is at home today, so I haven't got it here to show you the inside. Have I shown you that before? I don't think so. I'll have to do a little postscript where I'll pull the computer apart. But it's the little ECU, it's a tiny little thing, and it obviously doesn't do a great deal, but it is all nicely, I think I did film that somewhere. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's obviously doing its job. So, you know, it's not doing the, I remember sort of 80s and 90s, late 80s, mid 80s, late 80s Nissan ECUs where you'd add more boost and it'd just go like rich, you know, just chuck fuel in there to richen it up to buggery. This is actually doing quite well. So, like the little standard computer, it's a pretty good thing. But it is 90s technology. So, you know, we are looking to change that in the future, but we want to do it sort of a bit at a time. So, you know, we'll go to how to, probably, I don't know, those new S2s look pretty good. I digress. So, our next step up for it is, of course, this guy. So, and what has just rolled through the door? Well, the rubber for the sunny truck, where the gear stick comes up, it's just getting hot air up there because that's split. It's only 40 years old or something or other. But yeah, so we've got some turbo gaskets for this thing, and that one goes a little bit further. Now, these have the cat like straight off the end right here. So yeah, I got one of these for just in case. We have to take that off too. Now, Ben says it's fairly easy to do, but yes, I'm expecting better things from this for the simple reason. This is the one that Baxter's MTQ did for us. Hey, Paulie, good on you, bud. Did for us with the bigger compressor wheel on it. So for each revolution, like our exhaust is going to be the same, for each revolution, this is grabbing more air and stuffing more air in. With the standard turbo at the boost level that we're running, I figured that we're really heating up the air quite a bit because it's well out of its efficiency range, whereas this guy here, hang on, this guy here, with its, you know, and we're talking 20-cent piece compressor wheel to a 50-cent piece, it's not, in percentage-wise, it's actually quite a bit bigger. Yes, so it's going to be grabbing, and it's not going to be heating up the air as much. So it should work possibly past that 7,000 RPM, but we should get a little bit more power because the actual, I mean, coming back to that, we're heating up the air a lot with a standard one at 15 PSI, but our front mount intercooler, the big Monster Sport one, that's really doing its job. We're flowing through there easy and it's really cooling down. You could feel it was quite warm on the dyno, quite warm going in, but quite cool, like cold, coming out. So it was really working quite well. But it was quite warm going in, which tells you that the compressor, the standard compressor really is heating it up quite a bit. Anyway, so the plan is to put this one on next weekend, which should be a fun job. As I said, like Ben from BCW has done this job and says it's easy, but you know, this is a guy that he's a professional mechanic and he works on Subarus and reckons they're easy, so it could be taken with a grain of salt. But I trust him, so I'm going to give it a go myself. As I said, I got this just in case. I don't think we'll need that, but we've got the important guys here. This guy can go on. You see why this is a drama to change? Like that hose is what it's, you know, way to buggery down. I think it's like that from memory. Like it sits like that in the engine bay. So motor's up here and it's got all stuff crap on top. So, and that sits right down sort of next to the rail and next to the engine. Really hard to get to. So yeah, that was a fiddly job putting my controller on, I can tell you. But yeah, it should be a little bit easier. Like we're going to put it on here before we actually put it into the car. So yes. So our horsepower figure is actually pretty good. Whether the standard computer can make any difference to that, I don't know. But you know, the hot setup for these things has been to do the Monster Sport into ECU. There's the turbos. I don't know if I told you. There's 3 of them. There's actually 4. There's this one, which is the RHB31, and then there's the uprated one from Monster Sport, which is the RHB31FW. And then the next one up from that again, which is basically what I figure I've built here, is an RHB31FW Hyper. So you can see that it's got a much bigger compressor on it. There's the other option of the Hitachi HT07, which from all intents and purposes is a direct replacement and flows quite a bit better too. So this is the way I'm going, this guy here. It should be fun. I don't know if we can, you know, whether our little standard ECU can make any difference with this. We might need bigger injectors, mind you. Like the AFRs, you saw that AFRs were fine. There was no problem. It wasn't leaning out. It wasn't getting too rich. It was pretty much bang on. So our little ECU, and it's not, you know, the first thing I thought was, oh, maybe this is one of those N2. No, it's not, because it's got the speed limiter in it. The N2 ECU doesn't have the speed limiter in it. There's no 140 kilometre an hour speed limiter in it. So yes. So that's the job next weekend. Sausage fingers, little tiny engine, little tiny turbo, little tiny car. Not really looking forward to it. But we'll turn the cameras on and try to bleep out as much swearing as possible. But that's the end of this episode, and the Dyno episode. Well, I was going to say standard. It's not standard, with the exhaust and the front mount and the extra boost. But thanks very much for watching, and we will see you next time on the Barrel Brothers channel, where old Sausage Fingers here is going to put that guy on. Should be fun. Thanks for watching. See yous. Look after yourselves.